Hello, Ms. Niola.
Good morning. Just letting you know that we are live.
All righty. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Washington County Board of Commissioners' first meeting of February. Happy February, everyone. This is Chair Catherine Harrington with the Board of Commissioners on this wonderful Tuesday. Joining me today is Vice Chair Jerry Willey, Commissioners Nafisa Fai, Commissioner Roy Rogers, and Commissioner Pam Treese. First item on our agenda is board and leadership communication. Who from the board would like to go first? Bounding. Ms. Treese, you have your unmuted.
Okay. I will go first here. It was a busy week last week for all of us. We had I had a meeting on the proposed gas station at 185th and West Union. There's community concern there about the proximity to the wetlands, so that's moving. The discussions are moving forward, and the community is looking at the possibility of proposing a different ordinance. That's way into the future, but still it's something that's on the community's mind. Catherine.
On that topic, particularly since we have the benefit of the Clean Water Services CEO, Diane Taniguchi-Dennis, with having that development application now submitted, as I understand it, versus just hinted at, will Clean Water Services have to also be part of that development application proposal and weigh in on any stormwater or other environmental concerns? Question mark.
Thank you, Chair, for that question. Yes, Clean Water Services, as part of the application review, reviews the stormwater infrastructure that's being proposed to make sure that it's in conformance with Clean Water Services design standards. And
to that point, we had a meeting with members of your staff, Diane, and so far it looks like the application is in conformance. It is conforming to those standards. So the situation moves forward here. But I actively made sure that we were in touch with Clean Water Services as well. So, and the community's been involved in those discussions.
Okay, that's more of a report out than I previously had the benefit from our staff on that controversial project. So thank you, Commissioner Treese.
Yeah. And the community, they've been, it's been a very decent conversation, and people have concerns, and that the community and the staff are following our guidelines that we've set forward. So I'm comfortable with the process, and we'll see what happens next. Through my role on the PAB, we spent a long day last Thursday listening to all the applicants, and then over the weekend I did the scoring for the applications for the CDBG and homes. It's a big packet of about, I don't know, I think it's 13 or 14 applications, and I inevitably miss one. I mean, it always happens. So I'm catching up to make sure I get that last one done. The impact meeting was it was a big meeting. The first thing is I was approved to be the second alternative or the second alternate for the vice chair position, which means that not next year, but the year after, I would become the chair. So that's just a process that we're going through. And right now I'm working with Metro to make sure that I can be a part of the planning meetings ahead of time. Right now, they conflict with our roundtable discussion, so we're working on that. The main item on the agenda was the 205 toll project, and with the regional transportation amendment. MPAC is scheduled to make a recommendation to Metro on the amendment, but the discussion was really, well, it was insightful to the different viewpoints that people are holding and the concerns about tolling. The kind of the bullets, I worked with Chris, thank you, Chris Deffabaugh, to outline these for me directly, but they are the need for better timing between the tolling plans for the rest of I-205 and I-5, along with the I-205 project, so that 205 doesn't go first and then end up being the only one that's a tolled facility. There's concerns about using revenue for freeway widening. There's questions about the purpose of tolling and how ultimately the revenue would be spent, and also a request for a commitment to have greater input voice into the process. And this is directed at ODOT. At the end of the meeting, which was interesting, I'm kind of new to all this. At the end of the meeting, the MPAC chair said, and the chair now is Mayor Joe Buck from Lake Oswego. He said he would not put the item on the agenda for a vote. There had been a discussion of delay, but ODOT was clear on the need to move forward. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen next, but I will keep you informed. So it's a lively discussion. So, and we also reviewed the work plan for the coming year, and it's going to be a full year. So, and then my last update is Chair Harrington and I attended the Preschool for All meeting, and we're basically wrapping up that project and getting ready to come back to the board to talk about the different elements of the project. For me, I think the most exciting part was listening to the parental focus group feedback about what the needs are and what impact pre-K programs for 3 and 4-year-olds have on the family, but also on long-term issues. So, and Chair, I'll let you fill in the blanks there as well. How's that? Yeah, is there anything else that you want to add? Okay, great. So that was my week.
Great. Any other reports? Go ahead, Vice Chair Willie.
Well, yeah, I had just as much excitement as you did, Pam. I was judging the After School is Cool poster contest with Katie Riley and a couple of others. We did that the other night, and we had about a dozen applications from the kids ranging from probably 3rd or 4th grade into high school. So they put them in 2 different categories. But it was very interesting. You could certainly tell the difference between maybe a 2nd or 3rd grader's work to high schoolers' work. Much more creativity on the little folks, but also kind of fun to watch that. So anyway, we did that. The awards presentation is tonight at 7:30. Attended a Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agency meeting. We are continuing to work on the 22-23 strategic plan, and specifically how STIA, as it's called, is working with and communicating with the Salmonberry Trail Foundation. And so I think we're going to put together an executive committee on the foundation. I will probably be a part of that as representative from Western Washington County, but we'll wait and see how that looks. But it's exciting to see what funding is available and how we move through the steps to plan that. It's no different than any other project. You have to have a master plan. You have to do all the environmental stuff and everything else. So lots of work to be done there. But I'm just hoping we get a few miles opened up before I walk off into the sunset or something. I keep telling them they've got to hurry up this program. Also, Mayor Callaway put the Hillsboro State of the City last week. It was very good. The focus was love. I love Hillsboro. It was very cool the way they tied that term to a number of things that they're focused on. Their love for the city, their love for their parks, and all of their commitment for what the vision for the city is. And also, of course, he expressed a lot of gratefulness to the fire department, the police department, and a variety of other organizations that responded continue to respond to the downtown fires as well as the apartment fires. And so that's been a huge community outreach, and everybody has really responded well to that. So, but he also, you know, the other side was he talked about the lack of affordable housing and the homelessness issues that continue. So, but it was good. He did a good job. I also reached out to the executive director of AOC, Gina Nickel. And the reason why I did that is because I have not been able to participate much in AOC events or committees. And so I wanted to reach out to her, have a conversation about what's possibilities are, and where I could begin to plug in a little bit. I'll continue to reach out with her. There are a county solutions group that they're forming up, and I may see about how I could plug into that group as well. But it was a good conversation with Gina. I appreciate her time. And then lastly, met with a person who was a resident that's going to be impacted by Ordinance 883 by the extension of Cornelius Pass Road. And just got more insight from her and had a really good conversation and update with her. I will probably go out and meet with that neighborhood group sometime in the next month or so, maybe when we'll wait for it to warm up a little bit. But we've got some time to do that. But it was a good meeting, and I think we'll see some different perspectives when you go out and physically visit the site. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Commissioner Rogers.
Nafisha, did you have something? I didn't mean to cut in front of you.
Go ahead, Commissioner Rogers. I'll go after you.
Oh, all right. I just saw you moving forward, so I didn't want to jump in front. The tolling issue is a large one. I think we're all probably participating in different roles in that. I, as you know, serve on the Act, Region 1 Act, and we have regular tolling every other month meetings. And there's a lively discussion about that, lively discussion in 12. And I've had another meeting next week with a larger group of folks. But there's no shortage of opinions and thoughts on how all that'll work. So I have my thoughts as well. And I know it impacts significantly because I've heard from a lot of businesses, and at least in my neck of the woods, on the implications of that tolling and how they view it. So interesting process. We also reviewed, I serve on another subcommittee in the region on Connect Oregon. There's 9 projects we're advancing. Not going to get that kind of money. It's only for aviation, ports, rail, that sort of thing. There was one project out in Banks, Jerry, and so I think that rated about number 4. So that'll be moving forward. If you need any information, I'm happy to give you that information. I also found it very interesting, and it's something I've mentioned a couple of times on this board, and just something to keep in your mind. An opinion piece from GPI on Intel. And I've been saying that for a while. I saw the Chandler site going. I've been concerned. Now the $20 billion in Ohio, I'm concerned. I have had the opportunity to work with them in regard to the strategic investment program, every one of them that we did. And I think the last one was with the very young mayor of Hillsboro at that time, Jerry Willey. But we understand the sensitivity, and I'm a bit concerned about the economy, and I have said that more than once. We need to continue to build relationships. When you've got a major industry that supplies about 20% of the economy in Oregon, and they are going elsewhere for lack of land, lack of a number of resources, including labor, and feeling the taxes are very high, concerned about the traffic issues and how that's going to solve, in this region, they don't know. And so they're not the only one. I talk with a lot of industries who are looking at what they're going to do in the future. So we just need to keep an eye on the ball. We built this county based upon a strong relationships with our business community. And we are the economic engine. So I think that GPI was right on target with their short article, and I encourage you to read that. Good meeting yesterday. Nobody else mentioned, so I will. In regard to the appointment, always difficult. I will make one comment to all of you. My worst appointment process, where we had one individual who was appointed, but the other two candidates sit there and said they're the best one. I serve on their campaign, or I do this. Completely, frivolous process. Yesterday, 3 candidates, all qualified, wanting to do the job. That was refreshing. I like it when we have people who are qualified and actually are wanting to participate versus just being a stand-up, kind of there. So it was an interesting process. So I'll stop with that.
If I could ask you a question about that, Commissioner Rogers, about that, the not the specific meeting, but as you've mentioned a couple of times, you've been involved with many of these. I think yesterday you said maybe upwards of 20 over your 37, 38 years now on the commission. I was wondering, we've had to do 4 in less than 6 months. Have you had a situation like that before, or is this experience that we've gone through, the 5 of us together, is this somewhat unique?
That is totally unique. I've seen 1 to 2 in a year, but never 4. That's amazing, and it's amazing the quality of the people. I'm taking too much time, but I am simply amazed at the quality of the candidates. So in the old days, you didn't get that. It was completely different. One thing I would add too, I was invited by one of the cities to have a private meeting with the Oregon Transportation Commission chair this Friday downtown. So always interesting to get a bit of private time with the chair and chat about Washington County issues. So that's another issue going on. Anyway, thank you.
Chair, wasn't it 5 if we include the one that I had like 4 voters in one corner of my district or something, where we had 1 vote or something?
It is 5.
I think it was 5. Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I was counting those up the other day.
It's 6 months, not even a year.
So seniority in those organizations is going to be like, if you've been in your chair for more than like 3 years, you're going to be the senior person. I don't know. There's been a lot of turnover. There's for sure.
Yep. Well, yay us. Good morning, Commissioner Fye.
Good morning, everyone. Last week I was busy with connecting with constituents and our staff regarding hard to recycle stuff, materials, and then the encampment management program and design standards for road improvement projects. So I don't really have anything to report at this time, but busy week ahead. And also, I would say I participated in one of the appointments. I don't know if any other one, Washington County, was here, but it was a great learning experience for me because it was the Republican Party that submitted 3 candidates to House District 26, I think. And I was attending that, and it was really good. They had 3 good candidates as well, and a lot of appointments.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you, colleagues. I'll start with a point that, or a topic that Commissioner Rogers was speaking about, and it is the state of economic development here in Oregon. We're certainly a player. We, as a board, have invested in hiring an economic development manager, which is very helpful to our county, but I do look forward to a bit more stability in Business Oregon, which is the state's economic development arm moving forward. I have had conversations with several contacts in the tech industry, and one of the key thrusts, or the key thrust to Intel's investment in Ohio is a reflection of the fact that we have a very robust ecosystem here in Washington County specifically for Intel and its manufacturing needs. They need to replicate that elsewhere in the United States. So really, that's what we're seeing in that specific case. But the point Commissioner Rogers was making is spot on. There are other expansions that can happen in our greater Portland metropolitan region, and they do rely upon having suitable land, suitable transportation, and a suitable workforce. Plus all of the quality of life considerations that we work hard on to make sure that employees can be attracted as well as retained in our region. So yes, work ahead of us to ensure that a prosperous Oregon continues into future decades. You know that last week was a 4-day week for me. After we had a busy day on Tuesday, and I returned to our area on Monday night. I attended the WEA Board of Directors. I'll have a little update to forward to you. Then you all received an invitation to an elected officials meeting offered by Metro on their solid waste and recycling plans. And they had a great FAQ with that meeting that explained the average household waste bill and how the Metro part of the system accounts for just under 1/4 of the bill. And those things that we as local governments have control and influence over account for 75% of that bill. I'm going to assume that you don't have that FAQ handy, so I will be forwarding that to you. It's what I'm describing is a really effective illustration, I think, on page 2. Yesterday was the Metro Supportive Housing Services Oversight Committee meeting. That is a committee like with WA Board of Directors where I serve as a representative of this board. There was a first ever quarterly report, so I'll be forwarding that to you as well. I didn't want to overburden your inbox for today. I've had quite a few conversations with mayors throughout our region, as well as touching bases with the THPRD Board of Directors about upcoming proposals for use of the Washington County Metro Bond local share. They've all spoken very clearly to me about there being a deficit of parks inside the urban growth boundary in expansion areas, but also in older neighborhoods. So I've been working with the Assistant County Administrator Rachel Fuller and our staff on this need, and they're going to try and bring some additional information forward to us. It is a topic that will be coming to us in the future, as you've seen through the rolling agenda. And just like I did with the libraries and requests from the city of Cornelius to redirect those voter approved funds, I've done advance work. But once, just like with libraries, once we have direction, I will represent that, much to the dismay of whoever doesn't like our direction. Next topic, state of the county. I forwarded to you last Wednesday a proposal for our working together once again on a state of the county address for release in April. Given the state of COVID, in working with our communications team, Philip Bramsford, as well as Mary Fetch, the same person that was available to all of us last year to pull this off, worked with them and pulled together a proposal for your input. What do you think? Pam Treese, Commissioner Treese's thumbs up. Commissioner Fai's thumbs up. So you have it. Why don't we take another 5 minutes at our work session Thursday morning? To give you consideration on that. But I will assume, for lack of any other proposals, for now, that's the direction we'll head in. Let's see. Oh, another thing that planning ahead, looking ahead, it would be helpful for our staff if we could share our vacation plans through the end of September with them, because everyone's tired of trying to operate as efficiently as possible during COVID. This latest surge has disrupted a lot of households. So our staff is certainly trying their best, and we're trying to make sure. I know you join me in being committed to supporting our employees as well. So Ms. Angie is working with staff to try and identify what are those things that we absolutely have to do, that are mission critical, as well as that we are required to meet certain timeframes. And then what are other things that are within our control that can be slowed down a bit without causing business disruption. So towards that end, we are trying to role model everyone going on vacation. I know I'll remain hopeful that the year 2022 will be brighter as we move forward, living with this virus amongst our community and are doing so safely. So if you could please let your policy assistants or the board clerk know what your at least tentative plans are, that would be helpful. And the last thing I have is a generic question. I don't know if any of you have heard this, but I'm starting to hear more and more throughout our community concern that Care Oregon is no longer servicing patients. And that's a little concerning. So Ms. Angie, I'll follow up with you to see what our health team may know about that. But it's cause for concern. I thought here in the state we were doing pretty well for making sure that everyone did have health coverage. So I don't really know where to go with that. So I'll start with our staff and share an update once I know. So that's it for me. A lot going on. All righty. Anything else, commissioners, before we move on to leadership communication? Nope. Okay. Well, take it away, Ms. Angie.
Unmute would be helpful, wouldn't it? The skills we continue to learn. So good morning, Chair and Board of Commissioners, and I want to say happy Lunar New Year. Last year we celebrated Black History Month, and I do want to bring attention to our Lunar New Year. We have many employees who are celebrating this holiday today. So we are acknowledging this cultural holiday with teams and Zoom backgrounds that you can find on Horizons if you're interested. We are also hopeful that the Year of Tiger bravely leads us all to good health and a prosperous 2020. And that leads me into our COVID-19 update for workforce. Our workforce impact continues to be the same approximately as last week. As a reminder, we are not conducting contact tracing at this time. We do estimate we have about 120 active cases within our workforce, which is fairly similar to last year. This is not only impacting our employees, it's also impacting families, children, which is impacting parents reporting to work. Relative to COVID-19, an update within the community, the latest CDC 7-day rolling average shows 1,032 cases per 1,000 population. This is representing a 19.59 test positivity rate as of January 31st. So what does this represent? This represents a 19% decrease in cases since the last report. So the cases are going down, which is good news. However, there is still significant impact on our hospital system as a whole. Oregon administrative rule update. In Oregon, 3 temporary rules related to COVID-19 are set to expire this month. Temporary rules cannot be extended past 6 months. Therefore, OHA has proposed permanent rulemaking to extend certain protections. The 3 protections include requiring masks to be worn indoors, wearing masks in healthcare settings and schools, and continuation of vaccine requirements for teachers, school staff, and healthcare providers. Washington County continues to lead the state in vaccination rates for all ages, and public health currently is focused on vaccinating our youth, specifically 5 to 11-year-olds. Last week, I had updated the board that the Washington Street Conference Center we had hoped would be just temporarily closed due to staffing constraints. That closure will need to continue in the foreseeable future. Our staff are continuing to focus on our mobile vaccine outreach units. Yesterday, I had forwarded the board a monthly COVID update. For the board's awareness, this update is also shared with our city managers and special district managers, who then share that information with their councils as well as their staff. This has been proven an effective way to share information more widely as far as actions of Washington County, but then also just our overall COVID update. That information is also shared by our GR team with our Washington County legislative delegation. In addition, our team will also be posting it to our website moving forward, so that information is widely available to our community members as well. On today's work session agenda, Dorian Russell will be providing an update on ARPA. This is a conversation 1 of 2, with the second part of that conversation, which is COVID projections update on Thursday. And Commissioner Roger, you had asked some questions last week, and so staff will be prepared to answer those questions on Thursday this week. I do want to indicate that on Friday, February 4th, is Go Red for Women. This is American Heart Association's annual Go Red for Women Day, which is an opportunity to raise awareness and funds for women's heart disease research, education, and treatment. So, my Zoom background today is Happy New Year, Happy Lunar New Year. I will also be wearing red in celebration of this day on Friday as well. And that concludes my weekly update.
I have a quick question, Tanya. The getting questions in regard to continuing the mask mandate. As you know, it's being relaxed across the country, and even the CDC is, I think in San Francisco, has said if you're fully vaccinated, you only wear it in certain circumstances. So before all of us get flooded with questions, we've been following, obviously, what we need to do. On Thursday, can we hear a little bit more about what all that means? I get maybe just personally a little confused about all this information I get bombarded with from people. Why are we continuing to mask when other states are not doing it? Why are we having these issues? And so I think it's just important that least for me, I have some information.
Commissioner Rogers will address that as well as the rulemaking process that I mentioned previously.
Anything else, commissioners? All right. Good morning, Mr. Carr. What's
Good morning,
happening in
Chair.
legal land?
Well, as you I'm sure know, our election official has certified a referendum on Ordinance 878, that this board passed on November 2nd. Referendum means that the voters have gathered enough signatures. They have gathered enough signatures to require a vote on the ordinance. When a referendum has sufficient signatures, the ordinance is not in effect and will only go in effect if a majority of the voters approve the ordinance at the election. That doesn't leave us unprotected. The ordinance repealed Ordinance 599, which inserted Chapter 848 in the Washington County Code. That remains in effect. So there's still some limitations on tobacco. The ones you passed, however, are not in effect. We will be asking the board to pass a clarifying rule on March 15th. There was some concern that you could read the language of the proposed ordinance that's now not in effect to affect marijuana. It has never been intended to deal with cannabis. It's solely intended to deal with tobacco. There'll be a brief rule that'll make that clear, although of course it will not go into effect unless the ordinance itself goes into effect. I have nothing further. Thank you.
So if I could also touch on Mr. Carr, I understand that it's given Oregon state campaign rules, our staff has not provided us with any sort of talking points about our own ordinance that was passed. And I understand that. I myself do believe that flavors hook kids on tobacco. So I will continue to speak loud and proud about our going with the national best practice to ban that. But I understand, it was not a unanimous board decision, and folks have followed the process rightfully to put it before the voters for the May ballot. So thank you.
That's absolutely correct, Chair Harrington, and something I should emphasize. Staff will not be, staff can provide answers to factual questions, but we tend to be very conservative on that. Of course, as commission members, you have the absolute right to speak for or against the referendum.
Yep. I've gotten questions from several county commissioners outside of Washington County about why our staff isn't, in their opinion, as active as their staff are in defending board action. So that's why I raised it here.
Thank you.
Yeah. All righty, Ms. Taniguchi Dennis, Clean Water Services.
Thank you, Chair Harrington, and good morning, Board of Clean Water Services. On the COVID front, Clean Water Services remains at a sustained peak caseload status within the workforce. This week, we are managing 7 exposures and 12 positive cases. January closed out with 50 exposures and 39 positive cases, so it was a very busy month for us. There are currently 26 employees that are off-site due to COVID. All but one is able to telework as they feel well. Dr. Williamson reports that we're still at a plateau of the virus in the wastewater, and we're continuing to test and monitor it. The team is maintaining business continuity with the teleworking capability, but our frontline workforce has been impacted by the virus in January. We're very thankful for our digital solutions team for keeping our systems up and running, and our HR team continues to support the workforce who are sick. And that team is very tired, and they've run very ragged throughout the pandemic, but they're doing a great job. And we're working hard to keep the spirit strong and resilient within Clean Water Services, and to keep the employees' commitment to our safety practices strong, so we can continue to maintain business continuity given the pace of the sick people that are in the workforce. The team is also celebrating the Lunar New Year with a virtual celebration at noon today. Jack Liang, Dr. Ting Lu, and Jennifer To are hosting this event, and they're sharing the very special meaning of this celebration to them and their families with the broader team at Clean Water Services. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, formal agenda discussion. So we don't have any changes to today's regular business agenda, if I understand it correctly. Are there any questions or special needs from commissioners in advance of that meeting at 10? No? Okay, we're good to go then. All right, we'll move on then a little bit ahead of schedule to the Public Health Advisory Council member appointments. And we'll turn it over to Ms. Samanthel, who's listed on the agenda. Otherwise, Ms. Angie, it's yours.
Thank you, Chair Harrington, and I'd like to turn it over to Marie Bowman Davis. So Marie.
Good morning, commissioners. I would like to thank you for your time today. I am joined this morning by Alex Coleman, Senior Program Coordinator, who is also coordinating our Public Health Advisory Council. And so today for the commissioners, we have for your review our proposal of new appointments to our Public Health Advisory Council. We do not have a presentation, however, the materials we have available in your packet are still current. So I'd like to now turn it over to Alex.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yes, so we are asking that you reappoint 3 current members and then appoint 1 new member to a midterm vacancy to fill a vacancy that we've had for a little bit now. The new member is Afama Koye. He is a researcher over at OHSU. So we used a blind scoring process to review all of the applications that came in. And those were scored by 2 members of our Public Health Advisory Council and 1 public health staff member.
I'll just say these are really impressive applicants. This is a board that has incredible representation throughout our community and from various aspects of public health. And I really appreciate the assistance from all of our great staff for the outreach efforts and screening applicants and bringing good recommendations forward. I know I'm totally thumbs up on this. How about the rest of you commissioners? Any questions or thoughts? I'm seeing thumbs up all around. Yay!
All right, well, thank you guys. I believe this is then going to go to the regular board meeting on the 15th for appointment. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Thank you, Ms. Bowman Davis. Keep up the great work. All righty, next on our agenda is we're going to have an executive session between now and our business meeting. We will, after that, convene in our business meeting at 10 o'clock and then reconvene our work session at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Before we convene in executive session, I need to ask for a motion to proceed with executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub H regarding potential litigation. Thank you, Commissioner Rogers, for the motion, and a second from Commissioner Phi. I can't get the words out today. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Anyone opposed? The motion carries unanimously. We will adjourn to executive session. We'll see you over on a different Zoom link. Thank you.